This tutorial is for 4th grade, Module 1, Lesson 8b. In this lesson, we're going to round numbers. We're going to think about the vertical number line that we used in previous lessons to help think through these problems. In the first section, I'm rounding each number to the nearest hundred. If I look at question A, I have 7 in my hundreds place. That means my answer choices will be 700 and 800. Since 743 falls between 700 and 800. If I think about the halfway point, the midpoint would be 750. I have 743. Since 43 is less than 50, I know that I'm going to round it down. So this number rounded to the nearest hundred would be 700. So I'm going to think about that midpoint, and it will help me decide whether I'm going to round up or round down. In problem B, I have 192. Since I'm rounding to the nearest hundred, my answer choices would be 100 or 200. The halfway point would be 150. I have 192, so that 92 is going to be greater than the 50. So that means that I'm going to round up. So if I round up, it's going to take me to the next 100, which is 200. In question C, I have 2,475. I'm still rounding to the nearest hundred. I can look at this as 2,400 or 2,400, either way. So 2,400 would be one answer choice. 2,500 would be the next answer choice. The midpoint would be 2,450. I have 2,475. That 75 is greater than 50, so that means I'm going to round up to the nearest hundred, which was 2,500. In question D, I have 5,320, so my answer choices will be 5,300 or 5,400. The midpoint would be 5,350. I have 5,320. So that 20 is less than the 50, which means I'm going to round down to 5,300. In the next section, I'm going to round to the nearest thousand. The first number has 3,321, so my answer choices will be 3,000 or 4,000. The midpoint would be 3,500. Well, I have 3,321. This 321 is less than that 500, so that means my number will round it down. It's closer to 3,000. In question B, I have 6,798. My answer choices will be 6,000 or 7,000. The midpoint would be 6,500. I have 6,798. So that 798 is greater than the 500. That means that this will round up to the next 1,000, which is 7,000. In question C, I have 28,432. I'm going to look at this as 28,000. The next 1,000 up would be 29,000. The halfway point would be 28,500. I have 28,432, so that's less than the midpoint, which means I'm going to round down to 28,000. And in this last section, we'll round to the nearest 10,000. In question A, I have 22,153. I have a 2 in the 10,000s place, so that means my answer choices will be 20,000 or 30,000. The midpoint would be 25,000. I have 22,153, so that's less than the midpoint of 25,000. So that's going to round it down to 20,000. In question B, I have 16,886. I have a 1 in my 10,000s place. That means my answer choices will be 10,000 or 20,000. The midpoint would be 15,000. I have 16,886, so that's past the midpoint, which means I'm going to round up to 20,000. And in question C, I have 122,198. I have a 2 in my 10,000s place. That means my answer choices will be 120,000 or 130,000. The midpoint would be 125,000. I have 122,198, which is less than the midpoint, so it's going to round down to 120,000. So we're still thinking about our two answer choices each time, and we're finding the midpoint and deciding whether our original number is above or below that midpoint, and that helps us decide whether we're going to round up or round down.